This week, I received a message from one of my viewers in Mexico named Manuel, and he has a question about NAFTA.
Hi, Mike. Congratulations on your 100,000 subscribers. And really, I wanted to thank you because you've been an inspiration for me and lots of other Mexicans, I'm sure, who follow your channel to get involved in the political process of our country. And I also wanted to ask you if you have any opinion on Mexico's economic relationship with the United States, because I am one of the very few Mexicans who actually supports Trump's idea of getting out of NAFTA or at the very least renegotiating it. And I wanted to know if you have any other opinion on that, or like which economic policies you would support to so that both countries can benefit economically without hurting its citizens. And again, thank you for all that you've done and keep going. Your job is amazing. Like what you do is really amazing.
So first of all, thank you so much for sending in the voicemail, and I really appreciate the kind words. It really means a lot to me. So to answer your question, it's relatively difficult because trade is a big subject. Trade is a convoluted subject. But what you did say was enlightening to me. So before I answer your question, I will say that I do agree with you for the most part, and I'm actually surprised that more Mexicans don't agree with you, because NAFTA is one of the many ways that my country screws over your country. I mean, the United States exploits Mexican workers. But with that being said, out of all the things that Donald Trump says that are harmful, and all the draconian policies that he's proposed, I think that when it comes to trade, his rhetoric at least has been agreeable. I mean, him killing off the TPP, putting that final nail in the coffin of the TPP was a good thing. And I think when he says that he wants to renegotiate or potentially pull out of NAFTA, I'm inclined to think that's a good thing and agree with you. However, I would rather Donald Trump just pull out of NAFTA altogether than renegotiate NAFTA, because I don't actually trust Donald Trump. I don't trust that he would renegotiate it into a policy that wouldn't just be more corporate welfare or wouldn't harm Mexican and American workers even more. I don't trust him because he's a corrupt businessman that took advantage of NAFTA. And the thing about NAFTA is that I don't know if it can be fixed, because the whole premise of it is flawed. So it allows multinational corporations to basically shut down manufacturing companies in America, ship those jobs over to Mexico, and then exploit Mexican workers, because your country doesn't have labor laws that protect workers as much as American workers are protected. So they're able to make more money, increase profits, and basically pay Mexican workers slave wages. And I think that this form of exploitation is one of the most disgusting consequences of capitalism, and it makes me sick. And what was promised to us in the first place was that, by doing this, Americans might lose some jobs. However, Mexico, they're going to have a thriving middle class. Mexicans will benefit from this, but we've seen the opposite. And Mexican citizens, Mexican workers, they're not benefiting from NAFTA, so it's only a win for corporations. And when it comes to Donald Trump potentially renegotiating NAFTA, I just have zero faith in him. So I'd rather him, if he's going to do anything, pull out of NAFTA. And what we maybe should do is just have a bilateral agreement with Mexico when it comes to certain trade things. And look, honestly, I don't know what the perfect trade deal looks like, because obviously we're neighbors. We have to trade. I think that's essential. But we have to craft policies that benefit both workers. I mean, American workers and Mexican workers. We need bilateral arrangements that are mutually beneficial to the workers in both countries. But what we've gotten with these so-called free trade deals like NAFTA are just pro-corporate policies. And the way to facilitate more pro-worker trade deals is for both countries to agree to a minimum standard of living and to really stand up to corporations and say they're not going to allow them to exploit workers in Mexico or in America. And I don't know what a good trade deal looks like, honestly. I mean, does that mean that we impose tariffs on companies that take advantage of Mexican workers? Perhaps. So, I mean, it's a really complex question, but I know that we've got to actually get trade deals that are mutually beneficial to workers in America and Mexico. And right now, we're getting screwed over, and Mexican workers are being exploited. They're getting paid a wage that is just unfair. it's exploitation. So I don't know what the answer is, but I know that I don't like NAFTA, and I would rather Donald Trump just pull out of it altogether than try to renegotiate it, because again, I know I sound really redundant, but I just don't trust Donald Trump. So I am with you, and I really appreciate the voicemail. I think that your take on the matter is really important because, if you want to know how NAFTA impacts Mexican workers, you have to ask someone who's a worker in Mexico. So thank you so much for submitting that voicemail. Now we have another message here from Steve Smith. So let's hear him out.
Oh, hello, Mike, if that's your name. My name is Steve, and I'm seeing, what's up? I guess I'd like to join your team. I was wondering, what are your political views? Are you socialist or social democrat? I'm just wondering is all. I'd like to join your team, but I'm seeing, where do you stand, really? That's all.
Well, thanks for the voicemail, Steve. I really appreciate it. Just a piece of advice, if you do want to join someone's team, maybe do a little bit of research prior to asking them about that, but I'll tell you what I stand for. So what I believe is that when we put hope on the ballot, we win, and that we are stronger together, and that if we want to make progress, we've got to break down the barriers. And I believe that we should fight for good things and fight against bad things, and that having a can-do attitude and believing that when we all come together, we win is the way to go. So I'm for platitudes and cliches, specifically. Thank you for the message. I'm not entirely sure if you were serious or not, but either way, I appreciate it. So, yeah, thank you. HumanistReport.com if you want to leave me a message.
Support this podcast by joining the independent progressive media revolution today at humanistreport.com.